Hello and welcome back to another one of my FPL videos. I of course am the FPL train, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at my team selection ahead of game week 23. In a game week where I do have two free transfers for this game week. Now one of them is all about whether or not I will bring in Erling Haaland for this game week. Hopefully Pep Guardiola says today whether or not he's fit enough to start. I'm not totally convinced he is, so very undecided yet whether or not to bring him in for this game week or just to wait for him to get that first start and then bring him in. And the second transfer, again, another one I'm not decided on whether or not to go through with it. But there is two players from the same team. We yet decide which one to bring in that I fancy bringing in for this game week. But before we go through all that, before I show you what I'm planning on doing, let's look back on game week 22 and see how I got on. So then, as you can see on the screen, I did score 65 points overall, which gave me a nice green arrow, so I've got to be happy with that. Obviously, if I did go with Alvarez as my captain, it would have gone a lot better for me, but I've got to be happy with the decisions I made for this game week, because a green arrow is a green arrow, and you've always got to be happy when you get a green arrow. So starting us off with the goalkeepers then, so I decided to go for Areola ahead of Dubravka. Obviously, it didn't really matter in the end. Both of them conceded a goal each, and of course, both of them got that save point each, so 3 points each from them, so it didn't really matter there. With my defenders, I did make a swap around, so I brought in Kieran Trippier, and I decided to bench Dizazi for that fixture against Liverpool. I mean, I had no confidence in the Chelsea defence of keeping a clean sheet at Anfield. And, you know, they got battered 4-1 in the end. And he got a yellow card, so he ended up with -1 overall. And, of course, Charlie Taylor is still out injured, but he was never going to start against Man City, even if I had him available. So, starting us off then with my defenders, we're going to go with Estupiñán. Now, he scored 0 points. So, I mean, at least he did better than Dizazi. So, I've got to be happy with that. But, yeah. What a shocking result that was. 4-0 Luton battered Brighton. I was not expecting this at all. And I've got to be happy that he only got 0 points, because obviously he did go off at half time. If he carried on the game, he would have ended up with -1. So I've got to be happy with the fact that he got 0 points for that game week. But yeah, it was really shocking. I did expect him to get a fair few points. I thought I was going to come away with 7 points from him. So yeah, it was quite shocking, but you know, Brighton are very hit and miss this season, I'm telling you now. So hopefully he does a lot better in game week 23. But yeah, that was one hell of a shocking result, I've got to tell you. Kieran Trippier, I mentioned him already. How I decided to bring him into my starting 11 for this game week. It was a gamble, obviously, because Aston Villa away, they had, you know, that's a real tough fixture, obviously. Newcastle did batter them at the start of the season, but I was expecting them to really return the favour, if anything. But no, I was wrong. Newcastle started off really well. Trippier got an assist pretty much straight away. It was looking really good. 3-0 up there at one point, and then obviously they did concede in like the 70th minute. So I did lose that clean sheet, you know, points that were coming in, which was unfortunate. But, you know, at least he got me 2 bonus points as well. So 7 points overall. Happy with that return. And I'm really glad now that I've kept him in my team, because Trippier is now going to be going on a nice, decent run. Hopefully they start keeping the clean sheets now, Newcastle. And Gabriel, I mean, that was disappointing, 2 points. 2-0, looking comfortable against Forest. Then right at the end, they conceded a goal, and I lost those clean sheet points there. So that was slightly disappointing that he only ended up with 2 points for me. Palmer, 2 points. Weren't expecting much, from being honest. Chelsea got absolutely battered by Liverpool. So yeah, I wasn't expecting too much. Ideally, I would have dropped him if I had a bench to replace him with, but that wasn't the case for this game week. Phil Foden, he was my captain. To be honest, I did expect Man City to beat Burnley 6-0. I had him down my Super 6 for 6-0, should I say. I mean, they had a great start. It went 2-0 up pretty much straight away. So, I mean, I was thinking this is actually going to happen. That wasn't the case. It ended up 3-1 in the end. Thankfully, though, Foden did manage to get an assist in one of the goals. You know, it would have been nice if he got a goal in as well, but unfortunately, that wasn't the case. And he did go off early as well. He went off in that 77th minute, which was frustrating at the time, not going to lie. But then, of course, Burnley did get that goal, so that did mean if he did stay on, I would have lost 2 points from Foden. So thankfully, he did actually go off early. And in the end, my captain got me 12 points overall. So At least I got double figures from my captain. Saka finally got a returns. It would be on the week where obviously I do drop him, but you know, got to be happy with the 10 points that he did get me. Obviously, he is still highly owned though, of course, 60% owned, so wouldn't probably have made too much difference really. But you know, a goal's a goal, 3 bonus points as well. Happy with that from Saka. And then Luis, well, I was going to say Luis, it's Douglas Luiz, isn't it? Luis Diaz, get mixed up with the Liverpool guy there. 1 point from him. I mean, Villa were disappointing against Newcastle, to be fair. But, you know, same with Palmer, really. Ideally, if I had the likes of, I mean, Gordon, for example, I would have probably started him. But, you know, Anthony Gordon also only got 1 point for that game week. So, I mean, it's one of those, isn't it? I mean, it's the best I could have at the time. So, you know, unfortunately, 1 point for Luiz. And finally, my strikers. I mean, completely the opposite to game week 21, really. All 3 of my strikers blanked. This week, all 3 of them got a goal. Was really happy with that. So, Watkins got the consolation goal against Newcastle. Got me 7 points. Happy with that. Alvarez scored 2 goals against Burnley. I mean, he even went off early, so that's really interesting to think about. But yeah, 2 goals from him. Got the bonus points in. Happy with that. 13 points. Absolutely smashed it. I'm really glad, should I say, that I decided to stick with him for this game week. I know a few people out there decided to go in on Haaland a week early than they probably should have, because obviously we weren't sure if he would start. He didn't start. Alvarez started, and obviously Alvarez got the 2 goals. So really happy with that. And Solanke scored last night, got the goal right at the start of the game against obviously West Ham. Really happy with that, even though obviously he scored against my goalkeeper. It would have been even better if we got another goal, but you know, I've got to be happy with a goal and a couple of bonus points from him. So yeah, overall 65 points, really happy with that. Now then, let's go through my team selection then for game week 23, and starting us off with my goalkeepers. So I'm starting this week the Braga ahead of Areola. Now Areola does have Man United at Old Trafford. Now obviously, earlier on in the season, West Ham beat Man United 2-0 and Areola absolutely smashed it. I think he got about 8 points that game week. So that is a gamble, because he could quite easily return the favour. But, you know, Man United did just score 4 goals against Wolves. So maybe Man United have turned a corner perhaps. So ideally, I'd rather have the guy with the better fixture, which is the Braga, who's got Luton at home. Obviously, Luton have just won 4-0, so they're in form themselves. But hopefully Newcastle can shut up shop at St James's Park and he get that clean sheet. So hopefully the Braga gets the clean sheets. He does have the better fixture, Barrett Areola, so it's a sensible decision to go with the Braga ahead of Areola. With my defenders now, at the minute I've got the same back 3 that I did the previous week. Now, like I mentioned at the start of the video, I have 2 free transfers for this game week. Now, Estepina has got Crystal Palace at home. He will definitely be starting for me this game week. It's a nice fixture to have. Obviously, they did just win though, Crystal Palace, in that thrilling game against Sheffield United 3-2. Eze and Olise do look good, but I'm going to stick with him in my defence. Hopefully, he can do a lot better than he did last time. Trippier is another player who's definitely going to be starting for me against Luton for this game week. Again, pretty confident that he can do well in that game week, so he will for sure start. Gabriel, on the other hand, is currently starting for me, is not 100% going to be starting so far. I'm undecided whether or not to drop him onto my bench for this game week, because Liverpool at home, I mean, they are at home, but Liverpool keep scoring goals right now. Obviously, last time they met in the FA Cup, they were at home, but they did concede 2 goals to Liverpool. Now, obviously, that means bringing in Dizazi for this game week. Now, I don't want to bring him in either. I'm not going to lie. Wolves' fixture isn't the worst, but Wolves can score goals, and Chelsea can definitely not keep clean sheets. So I'm thinking about maybe taking him out of my team now and bringing in somebody else. And the players that I'm thinking about are both Spurs defenders. Now, I could go for Pedro Porro of Spurs. Obviously, he's probably the best candidate to go for. He's highly owned now, though. That is my only worry. I had him earlier on in the season. I got rid of him. Kind of regret that now. But he's over 30% owned now. He's 5.9 million, so he is quite expensive. He's a million more than Dizazi is now. It's putting me off. I'm not going to lie. It really is starting to put me off whether or not to go for him. And the other guy I'm thinking about is his teammate, Udogi. Now, Udogi's 4.8 million. So that is 1.1 million cheaper than Poro. Now, you could say this is knee-jerk because obviously Udogi scored against Brentford in the last game week. But what I'm thinking is, Udogi's less than 10% owned right now. And realistically, I have to really go for possibly a gamble if I want to really jump my rank up. If I go for, let's say, Pedro Porro in my defence, I'll have probably the same back three as probably a lot of FPL managers currently right now. And I don't really want that. I want to go for something a little bit different. So he's only 10 or just under 10% owned. Everton away is a nice fixture because Everton struggle to score goals, let's face it. So obviously he's going to have the same fixtures as Porro. Now obviously points-wise, Porro scored more points than him this season. But it's not a given that he's going to do it every week. And and I just think, you know what? Why not go for the gamble? I'm taking Udogi ahead of Porro. So that is what I'm thinking, just because of the difference in ownership. I don't want to go for the same as everybody else. So Udogi possibly will come in this game week for Dizazi. And then that also means game week 29 going forward, I will have a player for that game week where obviously it's the FA Cup. Well, everybody's going to be playing FA Cup. Spurs obviously are already confirmed to be playing for game week 29. So that is something to look at. Now he does blank in game week 26. But that doesn't matter because Dizazi was already blanking in game week 26 anyway. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking for my defence. So then with my midfielders, it's going to be the same 4-man midfield that it was previously, which is boring, I know, but with Son still being away of the Asian Cup, which is frustrating because he was literally 1 minute away from being knocked out. But no, South Korea equalised in the 99th minute, would you have it? And then obviously the win on penalties, and that means he's going to be unavailable now for the foreseeable future, which means, unfortunately, I'm going to have the same 4-man midfield than previously, but obviously Douglas Luiz is somebody that ideally I want to get rid of. I'm not going to lie, but the fixtures for this week are just too good for him. So he's got Sheffield United away. I just can't take him out for that fixture. I mean, he might blank, but I just can't get rid of him for that fixture. Ideally, I would have liked to bring the likes of possibly Anthony Gordon, who's got obviously Luton at home. He is somebody that I do quite fancy for this game week, but yeah, I can't take Luiz out for Gordon when the fixtures are that nice. So I've got Palmer down. Obviously, he's down as my captain. He's got Wolves at home. I feel like he could do pretty well in that fixture. Obviously, Chelsea's just been battered as well, so they have to recover quickly from that result. And obviously, you'd think Wolves are knackered from what happened against Man United, possibly. But yeah, we'll have to see. But so far, Palmer is currently down as my captain. That could change, though, by the deadline. And then obviously we've got Saka, who's got Liverpool at home. Not expecting too much there, from being honest. Tough fixture. And then Phil Foden's got Brentford away again. That is also going to be a tough fixture. And I'm not really expecting too much, if I'm being honest. Hopefully he can get an assist. That would be great. And so then that leads us on to my strikers. So obviously I'm going to be starting Ollie Watkins against Sheffield United away. I'm not going to captain him though. I feel like I'm a bit burnt from the last time I captained against Sheffield United. And they were at home then, and he absolutely blanked the hell out of that game. So, yeah, not going to have Watkins as captain. Alvarez against Brentford, not confirmed to have him in my team just yet. This is a change that possibly will be made before the deadline. I will possibly bring in Erling Haaland, but I'm not 100% guaranteed on it just yet. I'm going to wait till Pep Guardiola does his press conference, see what he says. Hopefully he brings some more information. But the fact is that Alvarez did go off a little bit early in that game against Burnley. Might mean he wants to start him against Brentford. And obviously it's a quick turnaround as well. So maybe Haaland's just not ready just yet. So it's a difficult decision to go with. Because obviously there's people out there who brought in Haaland last week. And obviously for Alvarez, so they got burned with the Alvarez goals. I don't want to get burned as well, so it's a big decision to make whether to go for him now or for game week 24. But yeah, that is the biggest decision I've got to make for this game week. So for now, Alvarez is in, but Erling Haaland could be my striker for this game week. And then obviously that will leave me with Solanke. Got no problems with Solanke starting. Forest at home. Nice fixture for him. Will he score? I mean, there's a good chance he can score against them, to be fair. And the fact that it's at home as well makes it quite a comfortable game week for him, in my opinion. And I'm really happy that I've kept him. I did generally think about taking him out. Obviously, he had 3 difficult fixtures. West Ham was, of course, being the last one. He's just scored against them, so it was just 2 fixtures he blanked in, and now he's going to play against Forest. And, of course, then he'll have Fulham the following week. So, yeah, happy with having Solanke in my team. So, that is going to my team then for Game Week 23. Obviously, still undecided on transfers. Haaland, Udogie, Porro. Gordon, very unlikely, but those 3 are the 3 I'm considering. Obviously, it's Udogie or Porro. Udogie is my favourite one to go for out of the 2. Obviously, ideally, I prefer Porro, but just because I want to be different, I will have to go for Udogie. And Erling Haaland is a big, big decision to make this game week. Anyways, that is it for this video. Let me know what you think of this team. Let me know what you're thinking of doing for this game week. Please don't forget to like this video, hit subscribe, and I'll see you all on the next one.